Good evening, everybody. I wanted to make a video on how to remove and to change the water pump on the Chevy Sonic 1.4 liter. This is a 1.4 liter. And I'm also gonna give you the tools that you need to do this. Well, not give you, but tell you what tools you need to do this. So this is what it looks like when it's off. The water pump goes there, out here, and then and you see it connects to that one, and then the little thermostat housing here. So the first thing you have to do is this mount goes here, like that. You get the idea. Support the engine from under. As you can see, I have the cat, I have a piece of wood supporting from the oil tank, or you can hang it from here if you have a hoist. So support it. You remove these 3 bolts with a 15mm socket. So these 3, you remove these 3 when the engine is supported. You remove these 3, and then you remove these 3, and this comes off. Once you have that off, this piece is bolted to the engine. So then you remove this. You see the 3 bolts there. They're also 15mm. So these are also 15mm. Okay. Once you get that off, this is the water pump. It goes there. I'm going to put it here so you can see. Okay. These little bolts here are these. No, wait. No, they're not. Hold on. Hold on, sorry. Oh, it's these, here we go. So these bolts. Hold the pulley. Okay, but before that, so once you get the mount off, you have to get the mount off first. Then sorry, I'm doing this at night, sorry. Then you take, it's an E10 inverted Torx socket. E10. Scratch that. It is not the E10, it is the E14. Put it here. And you pull. If you have the, I'll just show you. So you put it there. It's like this. You pull towards you, and it's gonna compress that spring. You remove the belt. And then you get to this point. This is gonna be on the engine. You remove these little bolts. You can use the E10 now, which, I mean, what the but I know not everybody has those, the E10. I know they're, you don't want to go out and buy it. So the The 10 would work just as fine also. Just a 10mm socket. It works fine. You don't want to do it over and over and over because it will strip it. But if you're gonna do it just once, it's fine. And then you take these 3 bolts off, and the pulley just comes off very easily. It's just like that. I want to show you this. So when it's on the car, you know how many bolts you have to take off for this to come off, because there's a lot. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bolts. 10 bolts removes the water pump, and those are it right there. Some are long, some are short, if you want to keep them together. Along with that, it is that housing there. Let me show you. This housing here, it's a thermostat housing. It has 3 bolts as well. 1 right here, 2 on the other side. Let me see. You can see the 1 hole there, 1 on top here. You can see this one from the top, from this side, and then this one. Well, you'll be able to see it from here. And that one, it's these. And this is the size is the E10, the inverted Torx. But again, if you don't have the E10 inverted Torx, and I couldn't even fit this socket in there to get to that, so I used an 8mm with the ratcheting wrench. The 8mm works fine on that. You're not gonna strip it, it's gonna be fine. Okay, so now you got these 3 bolts here to take off the housing. Then you have to remove this little this little hose and one of these pinch clamps from here. Remove the clamp, remove the hose, and once you remove the 10 bolts, then this whole thing comes off. And yeah, mine was all leaking from here. As you can see, everything was down there, all wet, everything. And that's it. Now here's the new one. The new one was $60.99 at O'Reilly's. Comes with the gasket and the new water pump. I don't know if I needed it or not, but the gasket that's here for the housing, the thermostat housing, I got a new one of those just to be safe. And I forgot to get the little hose that go here. It's like a 5 or 6 inch piece. I was gonna get that just to replace it, but so if you want to get that as well, oh, this one. If you want to get this little piece, you might as well just replace it now. So I have to go tomorrow morning and get this, just to replace that. And then everything's reversed. You don't need, here, let me show you this other view. Okay, this is the air filter housing. So you remove the clip from here, the mass airflow sensor, and that clamp and the whole housing comes off. So you remove the whole housing, and this is everything that comes off. This is all the stuff you have to take off to get to the water pump. I took off the wheel. Was it necessary? No, it wasn't necessary to take off the wheel, but I took it off. These are the lug nuts. These are the clips for the plastic under. This is a little bracket that goes here. It just holds this hose, but this bolt is a 13 millimeter, so you could just get down there. 13 millimeter, it removes this, so you could get this hose out of the way. So that's that. The belt and the motor mount. So nothing too simple. It's not a lot of stuff to take off, and if you keep it in a bin like this, you know that if you don't have nothing left over here, then everything's back on. Again, 10 bolts for the water pump, 3 for the pulley, 6 for the motor mount, 9 for the motor mount and the wheel, and that's it. You put the water pump back. Well, you clean all that up. I'm gonna clean the old gasket, clean as much of that oil and all that dirt as I can. Put the water pump with the new seal, thermostat housing, hose, pulley, then belt, motor mount, air filter. That's it. So, any questions, you can email me. I know I should have probably done it as I was taking it off, but I'm not that advanced with the editing or nothing like that. But it's not a lot. This is what you're gonna need. These are all the tools I need, and this was even probably a lot. Like I said, I didn't have to really take off the wheel. There was no need for that, so you don't need this. You don't need this. This was just for the pulley. It helps, but again, you don't need it. And this is really what you need. If you have the inverted Torx sockets, again, the only ones you're going to need is the 14 and the 10. But again, the 8 millimeter and 10 millimeter sockets work just fine. And a 15 and a 13 millimeter socket, some wrenches, some little ratchets, some little wrenches, and everything's really basic. No special tools extremely needed or anything. So that's it. It's fairly easy. Like I said, from start to finish, getting all the tools and everything, an hour maybe. You take your time, an hour and a half. Right now I'm gonna clean all that up, so that's gonna take me a good amount of time, and then put everything back. So it's not too hard if you want to try it. Like I said, those are the only 3 things you got to take off. Now would be I just changed that belt, so it's not that old, but if you've never changed your belt, now would be a good time, since you got to take it off anyways. And the thermostat looks good, but again, this little piece of hose is really hard to get to when it's on. So it's just, like I said, what is this, maybe like 5 inches. It's better to just replace it now. There's another thing. Once it starts getting puffy like this, before the clamps, if it starts getting puffy, that means it's really close to being done already. It's gonna burst. So see, like this, it's puffy and puffy around the clamps. Before the clamps, it's like this is normal. See, it's still straight and good. If it was really swelling right here, right before the clamps, it's time to change. Okay, so that's it. Like I said, any questions, let me know. I try to respond fairly quick, and it's not a hard job at all. Like I said, just support the engine. You don't have to take off the tire. I'm not even showing you that. I didn't need to. The reason I took it off, because I was looking for the leak before I figured out that it was the water pump. So I was looking everywhere. I thought it was, I don't know, it doesn't matter. You don't have to take off the tire. Just support the engine. You'll see it start going up a little bit. Just raise the engine a very little bit. Once you see the engine just slightly move up, that means it's supported. Loosen these slowly. All the the 3 motor mount ones. And once it's loose, then you know it's supported, you know it's good. You just work right here. You don't have to go under the car. You don't have to do none of that. Everything's here. Like I said, keep everything in a bin so you don't have no extra parts after. Put it back and you're done. So thank you. Have a good night. And that's it.